Okay, today we're going to talk about PCM, which stands for Personal Checkbook Manager. The way I usually run this is I create a folder on my desktop called PCM, and within that folder I put the one and only program that is the Personal Checkbook Manager program, which is currently 5.4. There's no fancy install. This is the one and only program that you need to worry about copying to your system. It just runs under Windows 10 and 11, and it will make one DAT file here in a moment, which I'll show you. So when you first get it, after you get it put on your system, you start it for the very first time. It'll show you your opening splash screen. Click or press any key to continue. There's no database yet. It's looking for that file in the folder. So if you tell it no, you're just going to turn right around and exit the program. So you want to tell it yes. So we'll go back in, we'll tell it yes. A little bit of info about you, your registration info. So we'll go ahead and I'll put in my name. And for my email, I'll use this one. And for the password, I'm going to use test. And as it says, it will be visible. I designed it this way because in the past, I've put in passwords for various programs and didn't realize I had caps lock or nums lock on. And basically, when I tried to get back in, it wouldn't work right. And I finally said, well, I'm designing this the way I want, so it's only going to be in this screen for just a few moments, and it reminds you it's going to be visible. The rest of the time, when you put the password in, it'll be all asterisks. But at this point, it's going to be out in the open where you can see it. So once you've put in your name and whatever your email address is, and this is just so you can identify that you're the one that's running this particular program, it does not send it anywhere. So once you get that put in, you can either use the Control S on the keyboard or just use your mouse, and it's done. Okay, normally we'd go back into it, but I want to exit to show you. It makes one file, PCM DAT. If we were to go into it and look at it in something like Notepad or anything else, the data is all encrypted, and it's going to be that way throughout the whole program so that nobody can see your business, nobody can see what you do. So let's go back into it. Let's put in test, and now we're in. Okay, once you've used this for a while and you decide it's pretty nice, you can go back and buy a license key, and then you'd go to this particular screen and you'd click on the license key and you'd enter it here and lock it in. But if you don't have if you're still testing it, you just go forward. Okay, this goes into the configuration page every time when you first start it. I put in some default categories that I think a lot of people would use. You don't have to use these. You can go out there and change, delete, add, whatever. The one thing I would suggest at this point, we'll go in and edit. I'll go up here to this. Inserts off right now. I'm going to go ahead and turn insert on. And I'm over there. I'm going to go ahead and put my check register name. Delete a couple of times. Payday company 1, company 2. Okay, and the stuff that I'm working on, I'm not going to have a company 3, so we'll take that one out. Electric, gas, water, internet, credit card 1. I'm not going to have it in the demo that I'm doing, so I'll take these out. No car payment. Like I said, everybody's going to be different. I don't have any PayPal, but I'm going to, didn't mean to do that. Put that back. Here again, you can put up to 60 categories, change them, edit them. Obviously, once you start assigning stuff to company or, category 1 or 2, you don't necessarily want to go back and change it unless you want to change a whole bunch of items. So it's kind of up to you. So anyway, I'm going to go with this for now. Go ahead and lock it in. Then it takes you to your check register, which is basically blank at this point. So we want to add one. Let's say you get an email that says you got an electric bill coming out pretty soon. Well, the first column is the clear column. Any key you press is just going to flip an X there or not. That is for when you get your statement back from your bank every month and you want to show that item is cleared, you would check it as cleared. You can either enter or click to the next one. Check number, if you still write checks, put in a check number. If not, leave it blank, and we'll just go to the next one. It puts in today's default date. And like I said, let's pretend like you got an email that said your electric bill, assuming you can spell electric right. And let's say it's 123 and 45 cents. Well, got to spell it right all the way. And you get over to the categories. Okay, it was one of those categories. If you forgot which one, you can go down here and click your F6 and it'll pull up your listing. The electric bill is category 4, so we can go back to here and we'll put in a 4 and hit enter. So at this point, we've got everything filled in for the electric bill that's going to come out, and we'll go ahead and lock it in. And it will automatically subtract, because it's today's date, it will subtract that from your 5,000 balance you had. And here again, that's going to depend. So that's how you would enter one. If you've seen something you wanted to edit on it, you would go into edit mode and it would let you go in and change anything on it. Delete's kind of self-explanatory. It'll delete one if you decided one. Copy. Now this can come in handy if you've got a whole bunch of things and you got a new email that said you got a new electric bill coming out. Go highlight the one that you did last and hit copy, and it'll throw one down there with almost everything filled in the same. But this one is going to come out July. So other than that, we'll go over here and let's say the amount is $234.56. So other than that, everything looks the same. Now, since this is a date in the future from when we are right now, when we lock it in, you'll notice it still only takes out the 123.45. When your system date gets to July 9th, it will go ahead and subtract that automatically. But that's how you would use adding. And like I said, you can go back and check it one. You can edit one. If you decide you want to add something to that, let's go to the end of that and say very high. Just whatever you want to put in, or you can put nothing there. You decide to change it later, whatever. The reports, I'll show you that in a little bit when you only got 2 items. It's not really exciting at this point. Same with all these first and last. When you've only got 2 items, you're not really getting anywhere. So that's what it looks like with how you add for starters. So I'm going to go ahead and pause for now, and I'll be back in a little bit and show you what it looks like with a bunch of items in there. Okay, I'm back, and I've went ahead and added a whole bunch of data. So once again, let's go back into the folder. We'll go back into the program, splash screen, get past that, put in our test password. We're still testing it for right now, so we'll go past there. We'll go ahead and leave that the way it is for right now. So now what I've done is I've added a whole bunch of things. These are my kind of normal bills. You got your gas, electric, water, internet, your paydays and all that. So at this point, this is what it would look like if you had a bunch of items in there. They're pretty much, you can click on any one of them you want to edit it, change it in any way, shape, or form. At this point, if we wanted to run the reports section, just click the F1 and do the reports. You can either stay in the program or we can go ahead and exit. It makes 3 reports. If we want to see what they look like, we'll go ahead and open them in whatever program you like. I'm going to open them in Notepad+. So here's Payday Company 1. Here's all my paydays, and here's what it totals so far on Category 1. Category 2, it's another payday, different pay amount, how much it totals. The electric bill, how much they are, how much it totals for Category 4, and etc. on down. Again, when you don't have a whole lot of, we only got a few months worth of data here. On my actual one at home, I've got all the data going back to the year 2014 in there, so my categories are quite large, and it breaks it down by year. So like on the electric bill, it'll have, I think the first year I had was like 2015 or something like that. So it'll have all my 2015s, and it'll have the total of that, and then it'll have the 2016s and going forward like that. But that's how that would work. And so that's what it looks like with the category report. If we want to look at the exempts report, again, there's nothing in it right now, so we won't look at it until we talk about that. The monthly report, we'll go ahead and open this, and we'll use Notepad this time and expand it so we can see it a little better. Same type situation. It puts them all out. This time, though, because we're doing it by the monthly, it'll do the current month first, everything that was happened on the current month, and then everything that's happened on the month before, and then the month before, and etc. And here's all your amounts, and then your totals for your debits and credits for that month. So you can see how things have been going, as you go back in time. Again, with just a few months, not that impressive, but after you get many more months of stuff in there and even years of stuff, it starts becoming a little bit handier to look at. So that's how that would work for now. So I'm going to show you about how the exempts work next. So I will be back in just a little bit. Okay, I'm back and ready to show you some more stuff. And we're going to be talking about the exempt section. One of the things I thought of is a lot of things I float through my credit card. Since you only have one credit card payment a month, I thought what it would not be handy to track several different items that's on the credit card. So what I did is go into the program again and test password and go past that, and we'll go ahead and edit something on the configuration page. And if we go over here to here again, you can put it anywhere you want, but I decided let's track everything to do with my pets, which is usually pet stores, pet hospitals, Chewy Online, stuff like that. And here again, I just put it someplace where I thought it would be handy for me to remember the number category 50. And we'll do it like that. And I went ahead and went back through all of my stuff that I'd done since the first of the year. And the only difference is when you have items before each item, it subtracts from the previous one. But now when you get down to this one, 678806, if your next item says exempt, by putting in all X's for the check number, that's the only thing you can put in is X's or a number. So if you put in all X's, it won't subtract that from your amount, but it's going to put everything in there. So all the different things that I've done for my pets, whether I've taken them to the hospital, bought something from Chewy, PetSmart, I think those are the main things that I buy. Oh, there was a cat clinic one. Had to get one of the cats shaved every year. So anyway, if you put all those in, and they're all exempt because it keeps it all that way. Now, when we run reports, and again, you can exit or come back in. We'll exit and come back in. If we look at the exempts report, here again, these are items that just went through the credit card, but it'll show just those exempt things. And it's like, wow, I was kind of amazed to see that I'd spent $3,654.49 just since the beginning of this year through June the 4th on various pet stuff. So your pets may be different than that, but you can track a lot of things. You can track maybe how many times you want to go out to eat. If you put all that through your credit card, maybe you want to track all your times you go out to eat, or maybe just a particular restaurant, or maybe some of the things you buy for your health reasons, your prescriptions or something like that. If you charge it to the credit card, again, you can create another category and put everything through there, and you can see where things go. While we're at it, we'll go back in and go past that. And since right now these are all kind of just added at the end, we'll show you what the sort works like. You just click sort, and poof, it puts them where they went in the stream of things. So you can, again, use the arrow keys to scroll up and down, or depending upon how much things they have, you can go first, go to the very top line, go last, go to the very last page, page up one page, go a couple of times, page down a couple of times, So that's how that would work. So I think I've shown you just about everything that needs to be shown. We've went over add, we've went over edit, we've went over delete. I mean, here again, can delete an item. Nope. Copy, we've done that. Reports, categories, again, you can go in and change those at any time. Sort. The main thing that, having worked in this field for a long time, the main thing, people tend to put things in their computer and think nothing will ever go wrong. Well, it's going to die one of these days. And like I said, if you back up that program and you back up that DAT file, that's the main thing that you want to put back. There's no fancy install or nothing. You just copy it to wherever you want it, and you're back in business. The reports, you can regenerate them anytime. But anyway, that's how PCM works. So I hope you enjoy.